Russ Reynolds here with FormPiper, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is sales. So specifically, I want to look at 4 ways to maximize your sales success at your furniture store. And one of the biggest questions I get from my customers right now is, how can we increase our sales with our current customer base? So my answer for that is to identify any low-hanging fruit. And what I mean by low-hanging fruit would just be, what warm or hot leads do we have? Do we have customers who have come in and shown interest in a product that we have, but walked away without purchasing anything? So in order to do that, you have to have some sort of system and process around your warm leads and capturing your leads. So the best way to do that is, 1, to have a CRM, and then 2, to just segment your leads between, cash and card paying customers and maybe financing customers. So with financing customers, if you have people that have come in, they've shown interest in a product, and they've taken the time to fill out an application, they actually got an approval, but they left the store without purchasing anything, those are going to be, your hottest leads that you actually have. And so if you have a system around that, it's really easy to create a process of following up with your customers to actually find the ones, who you can bring back into the store. So I have FormPiper pulled up right here just to show you what I'm talking about. And I filtered my customers between people who've been approved but didn't purchase anything with that approval. So if I were Alex right here, I would reach out to our customer Phoebe, give her a call, let her know, hey, we got some new inventory in, or ask her some questions to bring her back into the store so we can close down that sale, remind her that she still has that approval with a couple of different finance companies, and that way we can capture those sales, and we're just maximizing what I like to call the bottom of the funnel. So that's going to be really helpful because you're not having to spend any more money marketing to new customers. You're just maximizing your current customer base. The next thing I want to talk about is implementing some sort of training routine. What are you doing on your morning calls? How are you identifying any of your sales reps who need help, closing down customers and not letting somebody who has interest leave and then go purchase something from a competitor? So again, in order to do this, you've got to be able to identify those gaps. You can do this with your point of sale system. Obviously, you can see, who has the most sales, but then you want to segment that down a little bit further. Where are we winning when it comes to sales? Do we have reps who perform better if we have cash and card paying customers? Or do we have associates who are doing better with financing customers? Is there a gap there? So you always want to track your KPIs in sales. And I think this is one of the biggest opportunities that stores can take advantage of. You can come in and you can look at your top performing sales reps. Like I said, in your POS, you're going to be able to see the total amount of revenue that your sales reps are generating. But then if you take it a step further, you can identify, okay, which one of my sales reps are not closing down finance customers? Again, that there's people that are showing interest, that are warm leads who get approved, but they're not closing. So I have Ben right here closing at a 53% rate. He's almost closing 50% of customers who've been approved for financing. So he's bringing down our store average. He's letting customers walk out of the store who've been approved for financing without purchasing anything. And all that is a gap in his training. Maybe he's not comfortable talking about financing, or he needs some help. Most sales reps, we might have a little bit of an ego. We're not going to reach out and ask for help. So if you can actually identify that and be proactive around it, you're going to see a major increase in your financing sales, or just your sales in general. So you always want to make sure that you're tracking KPIs, your key performance indicators, when it comes to sales. The next thing I want to talk about is overcoming objections. So this is sales in any industry you're in. You're always going to deal with customer objections. You might get somebody that comes in and they want to negotiate on price. That happens all the time. But is your sales team, are they prepared to handle those objections? Do you have your objections that are most common documented somewhere where you can practice, you can role play with your team, maybe do a morning role play, a weekly role play, just so they're putting the reps in and they're getting more comfortable overcoming those objections. One of the biggest objections you're going to hear is not having the money to purchase something. Again, I can tie this back to financing because you can get them to fill out an application, bring them a few different approvals, and now they have that financing. But really what you want to make sure you're doing here is getting your team equipped to handle any objections that come up during the sales process. And the last thing I want to talk about is maximizing your upsell opportunities. So in the furniture space, this is huge. You are always upselling. Somebody comes in to buy a sofa, they're not leaving with just a sofa, they're leaving with a sofa, a love seat, and a couple of different tables. I just experienced this myself as I just bought a new house. I didn't walk out with just the sofa I came to buy. I walked out with a whole living room set. So how do you know which one of your team members is actually maximizing those upsell opportunities? Again, you've got to track this data. You can track it in your point of sale, but then you can take it a step further and you can actually track your financing sales, and you can see your approvals versus the actual contract amount. And so if somebody comes in and they get approved for $5,000 and they only spend $2,000 of that, well, there's a gap there, and there's actually a training opportunity to teach your team how to upsell a little bit better. So I hope this information was helpful. If you have any questions or want to talk more about it, please reach out, russ@formpiper.com. I'm always open to talk about anything furniture related or sales related. Hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching this.